Hello and welcome to the AttendStar Happy Hour podcast. I'm your host, Brennan Robinson. I'm happy to be back for another episode. And here with me today is special guest Peter LoPiccolo from the Greater Binghamton Airshow. Peter, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
Good. Pleasure to be with you.
Your air show this summer went exceptionally well. And we're so excited. This is the first time we've worked with you guys.
Yeah. No, it went really well, and we're glad we ultimately ended up with a 10-star. There were a couple different people trying to get that ticket service for us, and in past years we've had different companies too. This was definitely the best ticketing platform we were able to use so far.
Good. That's awesome to hear. Great feedback. So, Peter, tell us exactly what your role is for the air show.
Sure. Well, outside of what I do for the airport, I'm the deputy commissioner for the airport, so kind of the assistant manager for the airport. I manage the day-to-day where my boss, Mark Keechner, the commissioner of aviation, manages the overall focus and, direction for the airport. But I manage all the employees and all their supervisors. So there's about 20 different employees, and all of us work together to coordinate this air show. Talking to other airports, they're kind of surprised to hear that we do so much for these shows. I wouldn't say that I take a managerial role with the air show itself. I'm right there with everybody else. This year, on both days, I parked, maybe 2,000 cars a day. Me and room security, our security people up here. So I'm right there in the trenches. We all know what we're supposed to be doing. We help coordinate that. We might be given different tasks, like food vendors and, setting them up and where placement's going to be of certain vendors and things like that. But one of the things I did this year, too, was soliciting for ticket vendors. And we ended up with the 10-star.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys ended up with us. We were thrilled to get the opportunity to work with you guys, and yeah, it's a great partnership that we've got, and look forward to continue working with you guys. And the topic for this podcast specifically is not only to highlight everything that went well at the Greater Binghamton Airshow, but also to talk about your parking plan specifically. You guys executed an amazing parking plan, and there were some very interesting ways that we approached selling parking passes to the air show, and some cool logistical aspects of your parking plan that made it go really well. So let's just dive right into that and talk a little bit about your parking plan. Were there any road closures this year at the air show?
Oh, every time we do an air show, there's road closures.
Yeah, always
Yeah.
road closures.
So our airport's located on a hill, a decent distance from a major city, Binghamton, New York, and which is great. Beautiful airport, awesome. But when you have acrobatics flying so low to the ground like the Blue Angels do, they take up a decent footprint. And it probably affects around 30, 35 homes. Those people are required to either don't go outside or don't be in your house. Here's some baseball tickets for our local team. Here's movie tickets. Here's a bunch of things we can give you, and you go do those things. We're surprised to see they couldn't go through the house for like 4 hours during that part where the Blue Angels are in the air.
What was different specifically about 2024 in your parking plan versus your last air show?
So the last air show was, it's a good example because it's a very unique show. It's 2021, so you're mid-COVID. Things were starting to relax a little, but people still were having trouble getting into large crowds and stuff and festivals and things. But what happened was we were given the Thunderbirds at that time, and we didn't want to say no. So we set up the show as a drive-in style, and we had about, I would say probably about 2,000 cars a day. But it was just spaced out. They had their own little boxes, so maybe they were like 20 feet away from each other. If you were up front, you would pay a different rate than if you were in the back. That was logistically really hard because it was specific boxes, and we still had food vendors and stuff too. It was just hard to coordinate the whole thing. Really good show. Weather unfortunately affected that one, but this year, this parking plan worked out far better. We had way more resources. We still had to use a good chunk for people on foot, which was different from the prior year. So that kind of took half of the parking spots away. But if you bunch them up real close, you can get about 2,500 cars up here. But that's not enough for around 14, 15,000 people a day. So what we did was we got with our local community college, Broome, BCC, Broome Community College, and UHS, a local hospital up here. Both had property relatively close. Since we're county, we worked with the county transit department with their buses, and also the county executive's office, who contracted another bus company because it wasn't enough to shuttle people back and forth to the airport should they get off-site parking. And working with Phil, we came up with different rates. If you were up at the airport, you paid a different amount. If you are VIP, which is mainly sponsors, is who get VIP. They're not actually for sale. You would get special parking. And if you were just offsite parking, you would park offsite and take the shuttle up here. It surprisingly went really well. The first day was a little rough. We were worried that we weren't going to have enough room, or people were waiting too long. Some people were waiting for 2 hours in their car, which isn't terrible for an air show. In my experience, that's not bad, 2 hours. The next day we figured it out. We had people parked within 20 minutes, 20-minute wait time. They were not waiting at all. And we were kind of all sitting around looking at each other, wondering what we were supposed to be doing at that point, because it was just done. Everything was done.
Yeah. And you said that was on Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday. Saturday was a little, hairy, but we made it. It worked out so much better. Phil will tell you, because it was rough Saturday, but Sunday was easy.
What I like so much about some of the feedback that you gave on our on-site support and Phil coming up there is how hands-on he was.
Yeah, he worked. He worked really hard. One of my guys who worked the actual admissions booth said Phil paid for himself within the first 2 hours because he knew how to set things up, train people, so this way they could do cash. Well, not cash. Yeah, actually, we did end up doing cash sales, and credit card sales right there on the spot for people just showing up.
On the online side of things, something that I want to mention is how well the ticket packages worked that we used. We offered a family 4-pack, which included one on-site parking pass, a family 2-pack, and as well that included one on-site parking pass. And then you also offered individual admission tickets, and then you also offered those individual parking passes. What's really cool about the packages is when you have an air show where your attendees are required to purchase a parking pass. Sometimes, for whatever reason, attendees don't initially look for that, where maybe they don't understand that they need a parking pass to attend the air show, or they need a parking pass really rather to park at the air show. You may have rideshare drop off at your air show, where people don't actually need that parking pass, but on-site, off-site parking passes are required for the attendees. And when you offer that package, it makes it so simple. You put it at the top of the ticket sales page, and they can clearly see that, oh, there's a parking pass included in this package. Oh, okay, you need a parking pass. Well, might as well just buy this package. And they're purchasing one item online. They don't have to select and find multiple items to put in their cart. And it really simplifies the checkout process for those attendees. And the offsite parking, you guys had multiple locations that you're going to utilize for offsite parking, correct? And so activating the parking passes accordingly, we said, okay, we want to fill up this parking lot offsite first. Okay, so we want to sell all those parking passes first. Once all those parking passes are sold and we're at capacity, which that's another important thing, understanding that capacity, having that number or else things can blow up and go sideways. But know your capacity of that parking lot. Okay, that's the only offsite parking pass when tickets go on sale that's available for the public to purchase. This could be maybe the closest offsite parking lot to the air show, the shortest shuttle ride to the show. And then once those sell out, then we remove that offsite parking pass and we start selling the other parking pass that is for another lot. And we fill that lot up because otherwise, say that you have your three offsite dedicated parking lots to for attendees to park at, and you have all three of them listed online for attendees to purchase. And what attendees are going to do is they're going to pick and choose which lot they want to park in for whatever reason. Maybe it's a shorter drive for them to get to parking lot X than Y, and now you're going to have, say, all of your staff you're going to have to spread out and divide and conquer at all of those lots when really you could have just had staff at two parking lots instead of three and filled those up at capacity and had plenty of parking for everyone. So that was a really good approach, and I'm glad that we tackled it that way because otherwise, we would have all these parking lots that aren't full, and we would have said at the end of it, "Oh man, well, we could have just sold parking passes for these two lots offsite."
Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
But yeah, and we also utilized some of our features to sell sponsored tickets.
Yeah, the way we did sponsors was um, I had a list of needs for different companies that provided funds. They had a promo code, and they would go on. We would provide that directly to them, or a point of contact that would share it within their company. Limited amount on there, so they can only get so many, and they would get those tickets just through the normal checkout. So they could still show up with something that the same exact thing as a regular person, a ticket that was scannable, that we can verify that. After once we verified their VIP, we gave them a special armband, and they could access the VIP areas. But worked really well doing it that way. That was something I was losing sleep over. And when I sat down with Phil and we kind of worked it out, it made a lot of sense to do it that way. I was just worried. I knew you guys can do a lot. I wasn't sure what you could do, and you were able to provide that kind of guidance and also, what we needed for that point.
Obviously those sponsorship tickets are going to be free, and we there are really two main options to tackle this. One is the way you guys did it, like you said, use promo codes, which when you generate a promo code on AttendStar, we specifically use these a ton for sponsorship tickets because it's so simple and simplifies everything leading up, even at the show, entrance for sponsors. So you distribute this link. Like you said, you put a just like a discount code in a way. You put a limit on the number of times that specific promo code can be used. You can make as many promo codes as you want for different sponsors and send different codes to all the sponsors. But to take it even further, we can generate a hidden parameter in the URL, the link that you share with those sponsors, and we copy that link. We you give it to you, or we share it to with the sponsors, and whenever they visit, they click on that link and they go to purchase their tickets. It automatically applies their discount, and they don't even have to enter that promo code. So it passes it along to that field on the ticket sales page, and the sponsor or that attendee specifically from the sponsor will be able to have the tickets on their phone. They'll be able to print them off just like any other attendee would, and it makes it a lot easier because for a lot of different reasons. One, they're going to be a what we call a current attendee in your event, and they're going to receive the email campaigns with important information of know before you go, or they're going to receive information on on-site parking. If they're a VIP and they have on-site parking, they'll get that specific email. Um, and the other approach where um, events will want to print out a lot of sponsor tickets to just distribute manually or mail out to sponsors.
Yeah,
Um,
forget mailing. It's no.
yeah, it's a hassle, and I, I do understand. Like, there's a coolness factor when it comes to like having a hard ticket stub, that hard ticket in your hand, and that's you're not printing out like a piece of paper for your online ticket, um, but you those those attendees, they're not going to get the email campaigns. They're not going to get all of that important information prior to coming to the show. Um, and we also don't have their email for future marketing efforts for the next air show. We don't have that attendee is not going to have the tickets on their phone, obviously, because they were just you know given to them. A hard ticket was just handed to them or mailed to them. Um, and yeah, so it just goes back to that first method is proven to work very, very well.
Yeah, no. And the emails, surprisingly, everybody seemed to have acknowledged and received their emails. A lot of people showing up with their parking passes like they were supposed to. Um, it worked out really nice. With VIP, we did something on our own that we did in prior shows where we go on Vistaprint and get a bunch of door hang tags. And if you type in car hang tag, it's going to be like $10 for like 10 of them or something crazy. It's really expensive. But if you go on Vistaprint and you just put door hang tags, the same thing, it's like 10 cents a piece
Oh,
or
that's a
even less. Like
that's
there's
a
always a
hack.
coupon.
That's an
And
airshow promoter hack right there.
yeah, and they work great. So that would be the only thing we kind of mailed or hand delivered were VIP hang tags to our sponsors. This way is really easy and quick to just say your VIP go this way, your general aviation go that way. We use the same thing for staff and other people because the sheriffs actually helped us with those road closures and checkpoints. And I heard they were pretty strict.
As far as a communication standpoint, logistics standpoint, planning and organizing everything with the county when it came to your parking plan, how did you approach that? And where did the conversation start? Who did you go to? Talk a little bit about that and
Yeah.
how you organize that.
So basically, where it started was a representative from the county executives team who could help with that coordination with our local entities like UHS and BCC and all those other companies or departments because they have all the contacts. So we went through the county exec's office. It's like our mayor for the county. And then we included the sheriff's department, in charge of all the roads and everything, Broom Security, who's in charge of security at all county properties, and our transit, so the buses and stuff like that, and obviously ourselves. And I'm pretty sure that was it. All of those people, we all came together and kind of figured out we can't fit everybody up here. Let's see what we can use to fill things up. And as we were watching ticket sales go up, we used the data of, how many offsite tickets do we have right now, and assumed we would fill up this lot and then fill up that lot and kind of gauge what we needed because we were looking at 3 different places and ended up realizing we only needed 2. And by the end of it, we probably could have got away with 1 because kind of allowing the flow of parking to work itself out rather than trying to contain it and have like a million people pointing. If you let the customer figure it out and just say, be here at this time, they'll figure it out. And they did it basically on their own. Buses were there to pick them up. Shuttles took a little bit. People getting on waiting for like maybe an hour, but I don't know. If you've ever been to New York State Fair, it's about the same thing. And they have designated parking and shuttles. So, it is what it is, but it worked out really nice. But yeah, we did a bunch of meetings, just recurring. Update, what's going on with this? What's going on with this? You need to start doing this. and went from there. Later on, when we had more realistic numbers for parking, that's where the email stuff came in, and we said, okay, you're in the black lot, you're in the green lot. You need to be here at this time, and that email notification was essential to coordinating that, so people weren't just showing up.
I mentioned earlier that I was going to read this response from one of the attendees at the air show. I'm going to read it right now. This person said, "This was an excellent, very well coordinated event. Emails ahead of time with pertinent information were awesome. The team who pulled this together should be commended. I can only imagine that it was a lot of work." I thought that was really cool to read that because they recognized some of just the effort that went into putting on the air show.
Now, I think of that data that we got, for us to brag on as an airport was, or just as a people pulling off this huge event, I should say, not just as an airport, was how many out of state and like out of the area zip codes there were for people attending. There was so many. And for us as a county, so counties make a lot of money off of hotels and motels taxes. That's a really common revenue source. So for us to point at that and say, hey, look, we contributed to this, you're getting your money's worth by helping us. Although I should say that the county doesn't really pay anything for these air shows. It's I would say 90% sponsors. That's really what it is. Everything else is labor and obviously that type of stuff, but sponsorship is big for us.
Well, cool, Peter. Great episode. Thank you guys for joining the AttendStar Happy Hour podcast, where we talk about all things ticketing, marketing, and logistics. Here with me today is Peter LoPiccolo. My name is Brennan Robinson, and I'll see you for the next episode. Thanks.